let me know if I get too TMI on this part. But so before transition, I definitely I was dating more women, and I definitely kind of leaned more towards women. But then now granted, not far into my transition, I got married. That blew up in my face. Like, just no. But also, like, when you're dating in your early mid 20s and you don't want something serious, men are way easier to date. Way easier. Like, I love women, I love men, but men in their 20s are far easier to have non-long-term relationships with.
It's like, I just want to have a little fun. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? And then,
Right? So much easier. And now I feel like I'm kind of in that, like, I'm back to, it's kind of a 50-50. Like, I don't have much preference on either one. So yeah.
That's awesome. And then, so how is being in Seattle? How is your support system been? How did your family? You didn't tell me how your family took the transition part.
Ooh, yeah. So I don't talk to my parents. Yeah. Yeah, but before this, we were chatting about the nonprofit, and yeah, I'm definitely in that group. No, so when I first came out as trans, I think my parents tried to be very supportive. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on that one. But I heard a lot of they would use the wrong pronouns consistently. They would call me their baby girl. And in that, like, oh, no matter what pronouns you use or what name you go by, you'll always be my baby girl. And I'm like, I think you missed the whole point there. Yeah, just really awkward. And then, of course, I got a lot of the, because my parents are in their early 50s. They're fairly young. And so I got a lot of the, kids these days, they're identifying as Apache helicopters and dinosaurs, and I just don't understand.
Apache helicopter?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one before.
Ooh, it's very cringy. Yeah. And there would be just a lot of dead naming, and anytime I corrected, it would kind of be thrown back in my face, and just, yeah.
How do you expect me to call you something? Well, see, that's the thing. When somebody gets married, right? Like, so my wife and I got married. She took my last name. Why does nobody have problems calling her by her last name?
Right?
Or when somebody gets a PhD, or now you call them doctor. Why is it so hard to be like, I want to be called Drew? Please call me Drew. Right. I mean, I've been going by Drew since I was 19, and my family has struggled with it for a very long time until I just started doing medically transitioning, and I said, this won't happen anymore. I just said, no. If you do it again, you won't see me. And they're like, oh. And they know I'm serious. So but
Yeah.
and then my father has issues with it. He was a single parent, so there's something to kind of deal with. I don't think that they should be like, oh, no matter what, you're always going to be my baby girl. It's not fair to you because you're not. You're Dan.
Yeah.
You have him pronouns.
Yeah, and I thought too. So I'm also named after couple of my grandfathers, and so when I switched my names, I literally just switched my first and middle name. That's all I did. So like I've been called Danny since I was a tiny tot. Like that's been an ongoing nickname as I've been growing up, and so like that shouldn't have been such a weird switch. Like this is something they've called me for years, and then suddenly now it's an issue. But they had no problem with my ex-wife.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was there, but
I don't know. My family is taking they took my, so I'm gonna be 8 months next month. I'm 7 months now. And when I went to my family after child surgery, my family, for some ungodly reason, this is my transition, felt closer to me and my wife. Most
nice.
I know, it's so weird. Came to my dad. I came in there sitting down, and my father and I we're very toxic people with each other, and especially when he's on drugs or drinking and stuff. We're sober, so I go see him. Like, okay, clean and sober, I can do that. That's fine. I'm proud of you for being clean and sober. It's like a gift. Like, unfortunately, that's how my presence has to be. So I sit there, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna have to change the song." I was like, "What?" It's like, "I can't call you my brown-eyed girl anymore. I gotta call you my brown-eyed boy." And he's like, "But it's still you." And I was like, "Oh my god." But he kept struggling, and he kept saying "she," and I'm like,
Oh,
halfway there, Dougie. Halfway there, Grandma. You can do it. You can do it. Like,
so close.
like, if your dad is literally looking at me and saying he, and I think my family is um, really cute about it too, because there's a thing that says my like keeping things close to my family, right? So I was like, okay, my grandparents really loved the name Michael for my dad. He was almost named Michael Douglas, and he ended up naming him Douglas Michael. And then I have a godfather named Michael Sean. So I was like, okay, Michael's a prominent name, so I put Michael in it. And like my family's like, yes, close family relationship. And then my dad picked out nothing to do with the family, so they love my name. So like I love that type of stuff. So, Danny, if people want to, like, if you were to give actually any advice to anybody who is transitioning or thinking about transitioning, what would you give them?
Yeah. So hilariously, this is the same advice I would give to any backpackers or hikers as well. Um, and no matter what anybody else tells you, whether you're looking at this proverbial map of how things quote unquote should be, your gut will always know best. So if your gut says this isn't the right direction, stop and pause there as long as you need to until you figure out where the right direction is for you, because that's not necessarily going to be the same for every person. Like, for example, especially in the last 2 years, I've gotten to a point where I'm comfortable enough in my own masculinity that I decorate my house with flowers. And like, I don't see the point on having a wardrobe that is only, yes, exactly, beautiful flower vase. And, I don't see the point on having a wardrobe that's just plaid. I find that boring.
That's hilarious you said that. I told my wife yesterday, I said, I don't think I want to wear these shirts anymore. She's like, well, why not? I'm like, because it's not my style. It's on
Right?
I want to look fashionable. I don't want to just look odd.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally wearing a shirt today that has a marmot hitchhiking.
Love it. I'm wearing like bright orange, blue, black shorts. They're colorful. I like them. I like them.
Right? Like, just wearing things that might not necessarily be, read as masculine or read as whatever, but just because they make me happy.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately that's kind of the whole point and purpose of this, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be comfortable in our skin, to live authentically, and to be happy.
Swagger. Yes. And people can see that. Like, I can see it through the interview. Like, because, like, as everybody's listening, of course, I'm on Zoom as well. I do see some of the Zooms in case people didn't actually see our little antics, Sure. But, like, you can see your joy, your swagger, kind of speak, your essence, and that is amazing to me. So I love that. I can see it too from the camera. I appreciate that. So if anybody wants to find you, Danny, how would they be able to find you and know information about
you? So I think probably the two easiest ways, because I'm very rarely on Facebook. I think honestly the only time I actually go on Facebook is to go on the private group that we're in. That's about it. But I am on Tumblr under BDW 531. So Bravo Delta Whiskey 531. Mostly I just post uplifting stuff there. And then I'm also on Instagram. And I think my Instagram is also just Danny.Wilkens. But you should also be able to search for under BDW 531.
As always, everybody, I will put the information in the show notes, so if you want to go harass Danny and say thank you or ask some more questions, we definitely do that there. Of course, you remember, be respectful. I want to thank you so much, Danny, for your time. I loved having you on here. I can't wait. This is a shout out to everybody. I am no longer posting the interviews on Tuesdays. I'm going to be posting weekly interviews on Thursdays because I have enough interviews now to get people up and running. And then on Tuesdays are going to be my new transpirational quote days. Also, where we talk about things that really get out of our heads. So thank you again, Danny, for being a part of this.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
And as always, live your purpose and live the truth.
Thank you again for listening to Transforming with Drew. If you like this episode or any other episodes, please share them with your friends and family members. Until next time.